Okay, tonight we're going to have some real fun because I'm going to actually show you something that I alluded to in the PowerShell Basics video, and that is a real task-based situation and why you would use PowerShell. I find one of the problems with new technologies like this is it's really hard to get people jazzed up about it because, after all, PowerShell is just another scripting language. Who really cares, right? I mean, it's no different from VB script or JavaScript or Python or Perl or any of those other ones out there, right? But that's not actually true. This one's actually a lot easier to use than a lot of those, and it's got a lot to offer. It's only in version 1 and it's already looking really good. Now, what we're going to talk about tonight specifically is we're going to talk about SQL PS, and we're going to talk about scripting databases and database objects. And it's actually pretty cool how easy you can do this in PowerShell. And it's one of the things, I chose this topic specifically to be my next topic after the basics course because I wanted to give you something that was going to be really cool and really get you jazzed up about PowerShell. So let's talk about SQL PS first, and then we'll talk about scripting objects in PowerShell and why I think it's such a big deal. Well, not really why I think it's such a big deal, why it is a big deal. Anyway, so we start here at any database, right? And SQL PS can only be started from within the Katmai Management Studio. And of course it's called SQL PS, SQL PowerShell, right? So if you right click anywhere, that's what that little Start PowerShell item means on the menu. And if I click here on databases, I see Start PowerShell. If I see here, I see Start PowerShell. If I see here, if I come down here to Views, I see Start PowerShell, right? And so the reason that's in there is it's all contextual, right? If I start it up here at the server level, PowerShell will start up. Let me put it in the screen here a little bit for you. And you notice here that I am at the server level of and I'm at the default instance, and that's where I clicked on it. So I close that and come here to, say, the IT Bookworm database and start it there. You see I'll be all the way through the tree, through databases, through IT Bookworm. And if I start here at tables, I bet you can guess where I'm going to end up. And I end up all the way through the tree to tables. So it's contextual in that sense, and that's why it's in all of those menus, right? So you don't have to do that, though. I mean, you can start here. I'll go all the way down here. So you can start here, and we did a little bit with navigating in PowerShell in the basics course, and it really hasn't changed any here. As a matter of fact, it's accentuated here, and I really like the way they did this. The dev team has come under a little bit of scrutiny for a couple of the things that they've done in SQL PS, but I personally don't have a problem with them, and I like being able to traverse these things like directories. So if I were to come here and say, directory, I get a directory of everything under there. Those are all of the folders I can go to, right? So you notice here I'm in the default instance, and I did a directory. So I can do a CD databases, right? And then if I do another directory, I can get a list of the databases that are there, right? I can do another one, GCI, which is an alias for get child item, and I can get the exact same thing. I can do GCI and pipe it to a table, format it, and just get name and status, right? Now, one thing that you're going to notice here, if I can get this over here. Oh, no, I can't. Okay. But one thing you'll notice is that status is all the way over here, and name is all the way over here. So if I put this nice little auto size flag on there, there we go. That's much better. That brings it back into something that I can actually see. Right here, I'll bring this up here so we can see it. There we go. So now I can see the name and the status of every one of these. So now that all I got to do is pick a database, right? So I'll pick my nice little recipe database. So cd recipe directory, and I can see everything under there. And now I can say cd tables directory, and I can see a list of all my tables. So again, that's how that works. You work with everything as a listing. Let's say I want to go up and look at stored procedures. I do a double dot and get back up to recipe. I can pull a dir on that, and where is it? There it is. Stored procedures. Pull a directory on that, and I can get a list of my SPs. So you can do that with every single object, right? I can go all the way back up to the top if I want, and back to SQL Server. Now, this is kind of like SQL Command. If you guys are any good at all with SQL Command, then you'll know that all you need to do is do a type connect colon, and then you can connect to a box. Well, this way it's even easier. You can just CD to another box, right? So I can say CD SQL, right? CD default, right? So now I'm already attached to ReliefCon. That's my other lab database right here. Now notice, every single time you connect to a database, you have to connect to the default instance. You have to name the instance, okay? So I can't just connect to ReliefCon and then nothing, right? So if I can do this, so what that's going to do right there is that's going to show me a list of instances right there. If I just do a dir at the ReliefCon level, so I'm not connected to a SQL Server instance right now, okay? So at this point, I need to connect to default, and now I can get back to my database objects, okay, or to my server level objects, right? So whenever you're connecting, you always have to qualify the instance, and if it's a default instance, you have to qualify it with default. But that's how easy it is to connect to a different server, okay? I can come here again, and I can connect back to the other one, and then yeah, see, I don't even follow my own rules. Oh well, yeah, you see here's me being an idiot again. I'm already connected to SQLCon. When it did that, it went ahead and connected, and then I tried to connect again. So I'm already connected there. So if I do this, I should come up with default. There it is. Should be able to connect to default. And I got that. And then I can connect to databases. And you don't have to take these one step at a time either, right? I mean, I'm doing this just to show you. But here, let me show you. If I'm already here, I can say cd, cd SQL slash, nope, I don't want to do that one. Let's do this one. SQLCon slash databases tables. What did I do? Okay, sorry about that. I had a little technical difficulty. I couldn't figure out why it wasn't finding my path up here. And here, let me take you back here to what I did, so I can show you where I went wrong, because I do this all the time. You figure I would learn by now, but I don't. cd space SQL slash con default. This is usually where I fall. Databases slash, this is where I fell right here, and of course it doesn't exist because I haven't picked a database. Is it recipe or recipes? It's recipe. There we go. So just to show you that you don't have to take it one level at a time like I do. If you know for certain that you know what the path is, then you can type it all in one line, just like you can in DOS. But as you see, I advise against it because I'm not somehow equipped to do stuff like that. So, okay, so that's basic movement in SQL PS, and let's go ahead and talk now, while we've got it, about scripting objects. Now, this is a really good topic to start with because it's really going to show you the power of PowerShell, and it's going to show you why it's so exciting to DBAs and why it should be exciting to DBAs. One of the things that we all face is having to script our database, and having to script our database not only on a regular basis and not having to do it by hand, but also being able to make it part of our regular processes. So let's say we want to make it part of our change control. You know, you're going to change a table and you'd like to snapshot the schema of the existing table first, maybe. You know, all types of reasons why you would want to script a database in code, right? And it's not always that easy. I mean, if you do it by hand now, it takes a lot of effort, you know. I mean, you have to you know, do cursors, and sometimes cursors inside of cursors, or you have to do it inside SMS with the little scripting wizard, and it's kind of a pain. And there aren't really any tools that will script it for you in a way that you can call from a command line and add to your processes and do it easily. I think Data Dude will do it, and you would call the MS build from the command line, but I never really got the hang of that. It's not really my favorite way to do it, and this way is just so much easier. So without further ado, let's go ahead and I'll just show you how to script tables, and then we'll get into a couple other minor topics on this. So it's actually pretty easy. If I do a GCI on this, I'm in the tables, I get a list of tables, right? Well, like I talked about in the basics, I can pipe this to things. So if I pipe this to here, and we'll talk about this here in a second. I'm just going to show you the command first, right? There we go. And I've just scripted out all of my tables. And it's that easy. Now let's go ahead and talk about this script a little bit. GCI, again, it's the alias for getChildObject. So what I'm saying is, since I'm in the tables node here, right, saying get all of the child items of the tables node, which of course is going to be tables, right? And then I'm piping it because up ahead I piped it somewhere else. I piped one of the commands up top to a format table, right? So I'm piping it to a %, and a % is an alias for each. There is a for each commandlet, and I like %. It's a standard alias. I didn't make it up, but anyway, it's the for each alias. Anything for each has to go inside of these curly braces. So I put a curly brace and then a $sign and an underscore. The $_ is kind of the built-in current cursor, right? So that's the variable name that holds the current cursor. Variables in PowerShell start with a $sign. So the $sign signifies that it's a variable, and the underscore means that it's the current one. So what you're saying now is get each child item and pipe it. So for each one, I want you to take the current name, which is being held by this variable, and call the script method, and then close your little curly brackets. And we get that. So you don't have to do all of them. You can do some filtering. I'm going to show you how to do some basic filtering here. This is basic wildcard filtering that's really easy. Let me find one. Do all of the tables that contain ingredient, and you see only one of them contains ingredient. So you can script tables. You know, you can script tables based off of some basic filtering. You could pipe it to the filter object, to the sort object, and you can filter them on very, very rich criteria. I'm just I'm just throwing out this real basic wildcard filtering for you just to show you that it's possible. Now, I called the script method, but what if I wanted to call a different method? What if, and what methods are even available? And this is kind of off the topic of this, but I'm going to show you these things again and again and again, probably on each one, so you get the hang of it, right? So, if I wanted to find out what methods were available to tables for me to call, because I found out the script method was available, how did I find out it was available unless I looked it up somewhere, right? And unfortunately, this stuff isn't really all that well documented yet. So, to do that, I would take getChildItem and pipe it to the getMember, and GM obviously enough is the alias for getMember. So once I do that, we're about to be attacked by methods. There we go. So all of these are properties that you can pull up on all of these tables, and those would be the ones that you would pipe to, like format table, right? You can get a table row count. You can get all types of all of these properties. But up here at the top are the methods, and you see here is the script method. Okay, you can rename a table, you can rebuild a table, you can grant privileges, you can get triggers, you can get schema, so many things. You can drop it, you can check table, you can enable the indexes, you can disable the indexes, you can alter the table, you can do all types of things. All of these things you can do. But that's how you find out. That's how you find out what you're even able to do. So all I did was and I'll show you that again, was I did a getChildItem and I piped it to the getMember. And you can do that anywhere, right? If I go one level up, I can do that and see what I have at the database level, okay? And I'm up here at the database level, so you see I've got a lot fewer options because databases don't have as many things that you can do to them as tables do, right? But these are all the methods that I can do at the database level. And if I come over here, store procedures, and I get all of these guys that I can do for a stored procedure. See, I can script all of my stored procedures as well. If I do that exact same thing that I did before, I'll just keep hitting the up arrow here until I get there. And I can do the exact same script in the stored procedure node right here, and I can script out all my SPs. It's very handy. Now, spitting all these out to the screen isn't very useful. It really isn't, right? I mean, there's not much you can do with that. So once I get this scripted, I've got to pipe that script to an out file, j:\\\, and I can script that to a file. And then when I go to this file, there's my script.txt, and then there's all of my SP code right here that I just scripted out. And that's actually pretty nifty, guys. Just imagine being able to automatically put something like that in a file every night or every week and save different aspects of your schema or your entire schema if you like, right? So that you can add it to your code vault or just keep it on hand in case there's an emergency and ship it off to another server, or if you want to add it to a creation to keep to automatically move tables to a new tables to a dev box or something like that. I mean, there are all kinds of things that you can do with it. The sky's the limit. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. There we go. So that's actually pretty nifty. Like I said, pulling it directly to the screen here doesn't really do you any good at all. It doesn't do you any good at all to pipe it to the screen here except to just look at it. So, but being able to pipe it out to a file, now that's actually pretty useful. I can't wait until until this gets a little bit further along and they have something, where you could pipe it directly to, TFS or something like that, right? That would be really cool if they have like a TFS connection commandlet. And they may already. I mean, there are third-party commandlets everywhere. I mean, Microsoft may have developed a TFS commandlet to go to put something directly into TFS. That would be fabulous. You could look that up on Codeplex. But anyway, I'm starting to babble here, so I'm going to go ahead and let this rest here. And I just wanted to show you, how cool this can be to be able to actually script something to script your database and do it in just a few lines and just a few characters. I mean, look at that. To script out all of your SPs or all of your tables, that's not a lot of code to do something like that. And you can get pretty fancy with it. I mean, you can build an actual script and get really fancy with it and script things in a certain order if you have dependencies, and you can script things, from one database to another and keep connecting back and forth to the different databases and scripting out the different objects and just keep adding them to the file. I mean, you can get just, really wicked cool with it. So anyway, have some fun scripting, and I'll be back soon to give you some more PowerShell tidbits. But this is one of the things that makes PowerShell really cool, is being able to do stuff like this so easily. Have fun.